Good morning and welcome to Face the Nation. It was another chaotic week as we bounced between breaking news on the fighting in Syria and Democrats' impeachment investigation in Washington. Chaos in Syria. As adversaries advanced faster than the U.S. could retreat, American troops took the extraordinary action of bombing their own base to keep supplies out of enemy hands. Vice President Pence led an emergency mission to ask Turkey to pause its invasion.
Turkey and the United States of America have agreed to a ceasefire in Syria.
Turkey agreed to a 5-day pause in exchange for a U.S. promise to lift sanctions. President Erdogan won another key concession. America's Kurdish allies must flee northern Syria.
Without spilling a drop of American blood, not one drop of American blood. Sometimes you have to let them fight. It's like two kids in a lot. You got to let them fight, and then you pull them apart.
A Wednesday White House meeting on Syria brought Democratic leaders face to face with President Trump for the first time since the impeachment probe began. It didn't go smoothly. Democrats walked out, claiming the president insulted the speaker.
We were offended deeply by his treatment of the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Go ahead,
what we witnessed on the part of the president was a meltdown. Sad to say.
Earlier that day, Republicans and Democrats had overwhelmingly voted to rebuke the president for his decision to withdraw troops. In a rare move, some Senate Republicans also spoke out.
Many of us have been arguing that this was a mistake. It shouldn't have been done.
What we have done to the Kurds will stand as a blood stain in the annals of American history.
Meanwhile, the impeachment inquiry intensified. Fiona Hill, a former National Security Council official, told investigators that she had notified White House lawyers in July after she had heard Gordon Sondland, ambassador to the EU, offer Ukrainian officials a meeting between their president and Mr. Trump if an investigation was opened into Burisma, a Ukrainian energy company that Joe Biden's son Hunter worked for. John Bolton, the president's national security advisor, likened it to a drug deal and said he wanted no part of it. But Ambassador Sondland testified that no one ever raised any concerns and said that it was the president who had directed him to work with personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani on the project. The president's chief of staff was also implicated and on Thursday appeared to admit to reporters that he held up military aid for Ukraine in part because President Trump wanted the country to investigate a conspiracy theory about Democrats in the 2016 election.
The corruption related to the DNC server? Absolutely. No question about that. But that's it. And that's why we held up the money. Now, there was a report.
So the demand for an investigation into the Democrats was part of the reason that he ordered to withhold funding to Ukraine.
The look back to what happened in 2016 certainly was part of the thing that he was worried about in corruption with that nation. And that is absolutely appropriate.
Withholding the funding.
Yeah, which ultimately then flowed.
Later in the day, Mulvaney released a statement trying to walk back what he had just said.